As we come into this comfortable position, maybe you allow your eyes to close, or maybe you simply soften your gaze, letting your vision blur over just a little bit. We'll start to notice where our breath is coming in at the nose, and then noticing where it releases from the nose or the mouth. And we'll start to really focus in on that breath, finding it in a circular motion, in a circular breath. So as soon as you take the inhale as slow as you can, filling your lungs up with air, don't pause at the top, but immediately start to exhale, slow and steady, until all the air empties from your lungs. And without a pause, immediately start inhaling again, letting this breath find a circular flow today. Try to make the inhale match the length of the exhale, but in a gentle kind of way, not counting or forcing it, just simply elongating it until it feels like it's of equal lengths. As we settle into stillness here, knowing that this time today is for you and that you have complete control. As I guide you, I'll offer you lots of different choices. Try to give yourself permission to move how your body wants to move. At points, all the choices might even seem overwhelming, hard to decide. But self-compassion is listening to your inner wisdom and awareness. You don't have to do what I'm doing or saying. And I hope you'll notice when you start to feel rigid, stiff. Maybe try to listen, to go within, to move your body and move intuitively to the cues and how your body wants to move. Maybe finding a little bit of steadiness with ease as you move or hold poses. As we build this awareness practice today, maybe guide yourself to your edge and then simply breathe with kindness towards yourself. Breathe to calm your nervous system. Begin to welcome everything, the physical, the mental, the emotional, maybe even the breath or frustration. Simply whatever comes up, acknowledge it, accept it. This is the first step in self-compassion. The world is full of darkness and light, the yin and the yang. This is what makes our existence so dynamic and so beautiful. The sun rises in the daytime, and as it sets, we see the light of the moon shining in the darkness. Flowers open and close. Humans wake up and then go to sleep. We are happy, then we are angry. Life is hard, and then it feels effortless. Life is a constant push and pull of the light and the dark. Let us embrace this beautiful juxtaposition that we call life. Maybe even setting an intention that this week you go outside and watch a sunset. Watch as the light turns to darkness. Watch as the moon shines her light in the darkness. Experiencing the darkness and the light. We're still taking that circular breath. Begin to allow your breath to release back into its natural flow. We'll end our grounding meditation with a lion's breath, or 3. As we inhale, we fill our lungs completely, and with our exhale, we allow an open mouth exhale, maybe even sticking the tongue out, and a slight audible sound on the exhale. And taking 2 more just like that. Beautiful job. After your last lion's breath, allow your breath to find its natural rhythm. Take a moment to simply offer yourself some gratitude. You took time out of your busy day to slow down and be here with your practice. And then we'll start to wiggle fingers and toes as we start to add just a little bit of gentle movement into our practice. We'll flutter the eyes open. And then let's come onto our hips and bring our feet in front of us. We'll bring our fingertips behind us, and you can point the fingertips away or you can point the fingertips towards your hips. But either way, you're pushing into your hands to lift your heart and lift your chin as you notice how this feels through the shoulders here, opening up through the heart space. We want to lengthen through the back of the neck and not allow it to dump back here, but lengthen it out on our inhale. Beautiful job. All right, with our inhale, go ahead and push yourself forward, lengthening the legs out into a seated staff, and roll the legs, giving them a little bit of movement here. We'll circle the arms up and overhead, feeling that stretch through our spine. And with an exhale, find a hinge into a forward fold. You can round through the back, curl chin to chest, reach towards your toes, or maybe even just grab a strap. Your legs can be straight or have a slight bend in them here. Great job. With our inhale, roll back up to that straight spine. Bring a bend back into your knees so that your feet are under the feet are planted firmly about hip distance apart, bringing our hands back behind us. Now we have the option here of simply walking the hips a little closer to the heels, taking a nice stretch a little bit deeper into the shoulders, or maybe you start to lift those hips up into a reverse tabletop. Still keeping that neck lengthened here. Great job. With our exhale, bring the hips back down to the floor if they were lifted. And if you just wiggle them towards your hips, bring them slightly back towards your hands. Great job. We'll inhale, circle arms up and overhead as we lengthen the legs out in front of us. And then let's take it into a twist towards the right, taking our right hand behind us and our left hand towards our right knee. Great job. Come back through center. Inhale, arms up. And then exhale, let's twist it into the opposite direction. Great job. Come back through center, bend the knees and plant the feet, bringing the hands behind us. We're going to take this just one more step further and come into a one-armed reverse tabletop or hip or shoulder stretch. So we're going to keep our left hand planted. And as we inhale, we either start to lift the hips or bring them down towards our heel. And then lift your opposite arm up and start to feel an arch through the spine as you take it overhead. And again, maybe those hips are grounded, or maybe you're lifting them up, inviting a little bit of a back bend. Great job. Bring the hips back to the ground if you lifted, and if you didn't lift them, scoot them away from your heels as you come back to reset. Beautiful job. Switch sides. Inhale to find that arch of the spine. Again, maybe either just scooting the hips towards the heels or maybe lifting the hips into the reverse tabletop. Great job. Go ahead and bring those hips back down to the ground. And then from here, we're going to roll on down to our backs. And maybe grab a block, bringing it close by. We're going to bring our hips up, our heels up close to our hips, lengthening long through the spine here. And with our next inhale, we're going to peel the vertebrae up as we come into a bridge pose. Once we have it lifted to its highest position, go ahead and grab that block on any height and place it under your lower back. The higher the block, the higher the height, the more deep the back bend will be for you in this moment. We're going to hold it here for just a moment. You can rest your hands on your body or alongside you on the mat. And then with our next inhale, I want us to lift our right foot up off the floor and point the toes towards the ceiling. And then take a couple of ankle circles, slow and steady through the right side. And then let's reverse it. Great job. Go ahead and bring that foot back down to the mat. Inhale, lifting opposite toes towards the ceiling. And then take a few circles with that foot. And then reverse them. Beautiful job. Exhale to come back into your supported bridge. With our next inhale, we're going to lift our hips as high as we can, squeezing our glutes, and take that prop back out from underneath your back. And then take a slow roll of the vertebrae all the way down to the floor. Once we arrive hips to floor, we're going to take a couple of rolling bridges, taking them as fast or slow as you want to at your pace, matching your breath to your movement. Inhale to slowly peel the hips up. Exhale to slowly come back down. Take it for about 3 or 4 cycles of breath as you notice how the spine is feeling today. Each time you get to the top of your bridge, really squeeze your glutes. And then exhale to release. Great job. After this last one is finished, go ahead and take the feet a little bit wider than hip distance and take a gentle windshield wiper of the knees left to right. All right, from here, we're going to roll over onto our abdomens. Bringing hands under shoulders, sending feet out wide and squeezing elbows by the side. As we press into the hands, we'll come up into a baby cobra. If we lifted the hands, we'd stay in the same position. Beautiful job. Go ahead and lower forehead down to the mat. For the inhale to press up a little bit higher, And then start to find some rolling cobras. So just like those rolling bridges, inhale to come up, exhale to come down, going at your own pace. Great job. Last one, inhale up. Exhale to release down. And then take your hands down by your hips, palms face down. And as we inhale, we're going to lift the palms off the floor, squeezing the pinkies towards your hips, taking a cobra with airplane arms. A little bit of intensity here to light up the core. Exhale to release, forehead and hands back to the mat. And then let's inhale to press up into a tabletop and then a child pose, sinking the hips back. The knees can be together or wide. As you sink it back, you allow your head to fall between your arms. Now, as you take your first breath here, see if you can allow your elbows to sink towards the floor a little bit, falling and resting into this position. And then start to walk your hands towards each other, letting the elbows be out wide. So you're in a bit of a diamond shape. Changes the stretch through the shoulders. Great job. Inhale to lengthen the arms back to parallel. Go ahead and tent the fingers so that you make it active through the arms. And feel like you're pulling your fingertips back as you let the shoulders come and really wedge into those sockets. Great job. Now walk your hands over to the right side of your space. You can either put the left hand on top of the right or just simply walk those left fingertips a little bit further into this side bend. Exhale to release through center, walking hands over to the left side of your space. And then same thing, maybe you walk the hand a little bit further, or maybe you simply place the right hand on top of the left as you sink your head down between your arms. Beautiful. Let's inhale to come back through center. And then come on up to your tabletop. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. And feel free to take a couple of cat-cows here. Letting the hips drop and then round. Taking it at your own speed. Once again, feeling that juxtaposition of the spine. Moving in and out. Up and down. Great job. Come back into your tabletop with a flat spine and then walk your hands one palm print forward. Begin to tuck the toes and we'll take our first downward dog. Pedaling through the legs as we sink our head between our arms. You're doing a beautiful job here. From our downward dog, we're going to find our stillness. And then we'll shift our weight to the right as we lift our left leg into a three-legged dog. Bend the knee, open the hip. Beautiful job. Bring it back to downward dog. Inhale, lift the other side, three-legged dog. Bend the knee, open the hip. Go ahead and come back to downward dog. Beautiful job. From here, go ahead and drop the knees into your tabletop. And from here, let's bring our right foot forward as we come into a lizard lunge with the knee grounded. You're always welcome to keep it lifted if that feels better for you. Or you could roll your mat or even put some cushioning like your blanket underneath of it. We'll stay up high on the hands as we begin to sink the hips forward and down. You can lift that back knee to walk the back foot back a little bit, giving you a little more space. You can even let that right knee fall out to the side just a little bit. You can always stay up high on your hands. You can have props underneath those hands, or you can sink down onto your elbows into a resting lizard lunge here. One last breath here, and then if you came down onto elbows, inhale to bring hands back under shoulders. We're going to leave our left hand right where it is, but begin to lift our right hand up towards the ceiling and then point it back towards the wall behind us. Great job. Exhale to release. We'll shift those hips back, lengthening through that front leg. You can take and bring your blocks on either side of your foot if you're using blocks, or your hands on either side of your foot. Lengthen through the spine here, and with an exhale, hinge over that lengthened leg. Great job. Let's go ahead and bring a bend into the knee and then come through your tabletop. As we take it to the other side, we shift the left foot forward into our lizard lunge. We walk the right knee back, again, maybe adding some cushioning to it, maybe letting the knee roll out to the side. We can stay up high on our hands or come down onto our elbows as we sink into this lizard lunge on this side. Great job. Inhale to come back up on the hands if you lowered. Bringing right hand where it right is, and then starting to spiral left hand back behind. Great job. Let's release through center. We'll shift the hips back as we come to frame that front foot with both of our hands. Lengthening through that front leg, and with an exhale, hinge over it. Great job. Inhale to come forward and exhale to tabletop. Alrighty, from our tabletop, we're going to take that little right leg, send it back behind us long, tuck the toes, and then press the heel away just to get a little bit of a calf stretch. And then let's inhale to bring that right knee right behind the right wrist. We're going to bring it over into a half pigeon, letting that back leg extend long behind us. We're going to stay up high here on this pigeon for just a moment. And then maybe take it down into a resting pigeon. Coming down onto elbows for just a moment. We're not going to spend too much time here. Great job. With our inhale, come back onto your hands. And then point your back toes towards the ceiling and begin to rotate the knee as you come to sit on your hip a little to the side. We'll bring our hands in front of us or onto props in front of us, either way. And take a few cat-cow-like movements through the spine, rounding and then arching. All right, go ahead and bring your hands back in front of you as we shift the hips through our pigeon pose. And then come back to our tabletop, but lift that same right knee a little bit behind you, and then start to take circles with the right knee. Working out through that glute, and then reverse those hip circles or knee circles. Great job. Go ahead and come back to your tabletop. Take any movement. If you need to roll out the wrist, feel free to do so. And then when we're ready, we'll set up for our pigeon on the left side. So we'll send that left leg long first, tucking the toes, pressing out through the heels to get that calf stretch. And then as our inhale, we take it to the opposite position, bringing left knee behind left wrist and taking the foot over towards the right. Excuse me. As we sink down into our resting pigeon. We'll take just a couple of breaths here. When you're ready, pressing back up onto hands, bending that back knee, pointing it towards the ceiling before rotating it, and then allowing your hips to sink down towards the floor. Shifting your weight so it's got a bit more of an angle over that shin. And then bringing your hands down to the floor or to some props. This time we're going to take the right arm. We're going to bring it across our torso for a little bit of a stretch. Great job. Bring it back through center. And then take the left arm across. Great job. Release back through center. We're going to come out the same way we did to come in, coming through our pigeon. And then into our tabletop, taking that same left knee up behind us and into those circles. And then go ahead and reverse them. We'll come through our tabletop. We'll walk our hands one palm foot forward, tuck the toes. And then as we're ready, lifting up into our downward dog once more. Pedaling through the knees, shifting the weight a little to the left and right. And then start to settle into a little bit of stillness. Your next 3 breaths, let's take a lion's breath, inhaling through the nose and with an exhale, finding that audible exhale. Last one, great big inhale, long, audible exhale. From here, we're gonna look back towards our feet and start to walk our hands towards our feet. You can also walk towards your hands if that feels better. But either way, we're gonna end up in our forward fold. From here, let's take our ragdoll, grabbing opposite elbows and finding that sway, that rock from left to right. You can start to move your head, yes or no. Just sway your jaw from side to side. And then eventually finding your stillness. We'll press into our hands to lift halfway, figure 7. Exhale to release, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees, sink the hips, slow roll, coming all the way up to standing. Once we arrive, shoulders reaching up, arms reaching up, tall mountain, reaching up, up, up. Pausing here and maybe even lifting up onto the tippy toes, lifting the heels. You're doing a great job. Exhale to bring those heels down. We'll bring our right hand to our hip as we begin to lean over towards the right. We'll shift the hips towards the left. Inhale to come back through center. Exhale, left hand comes down as the right hips shoot out to the right. Inhale back through center. With our exhale, we're going to twist it out, taking one hand in front of us and one hand behind us. Inhaling through center. Exhaling, twist to the opposite direction. Inhale back through center, reach it up, tall mountain. And then with our next exhale, let's step it out to the side into a 5-pointed star, reaching hands out wide, arms out wide. We're going to hold this here. Really point your toes out and your heels in. Let your fingertips pull in opposite directions, feeling like you're taking up as much space. I know it already feels like we've been holding this for way too long, but we're going to hold it for just a moment longer. You're doing great. Beautiful job. And then with our next exhale, let's bring our hands to prayer at our heart center. Inhale, let them rise overhead. As you do, take your hands up. And then either keeping your gaze and hands directly over your head, or maybe starting to let them come behind the body as you take a little back bend. You took the back bend, let's inhale to bring it back, gaze to the horizon. Separate the arms and exhale to bring it into a cactus. Feeling those shoulder blades squeezing together. Inhale, 5-pointed star. And then let's step it back into our mountain pose. All right. Great job. From our mountain pose, we're going to inhale, start to pick the left knee up, up, up. And then let's step it back into a crescent lunge. We can bring our hands to our lower back, letting them rest on our hips. Or maybe take a bind at the lower back, interlacing fingers, grabbing opposite wrists or opposite elbows, or even just holding onto your shirt behind your back. Wherever we're taking the bind, we're drawing our knuckles down towards the floor as we bend through both knees of our lunge position. Your next inhale, really pull your knuckles down and maybe see what it might feel like to allow your gaze to come up. Great job. Exhale to release, crescent lunge, arms lift. And then let's exhale to open it wide into a warrior two, letting the back heel circle down as the hips open and the arms go wide. Inhale to reverse your warrior, letting your hands slide down the back leg. Inhale through your warrior two, take it into a side angle, front hand or elbow to the front knee as you swoop that back hand overhead. Great job. We're going to take that lifted hand. We're going to start to rotate it down towards the floor. As we lift the back heel off the mat, we come into a low lunge. Your hands can come to the ground or to your props on either side of the foot. Great job. From here, we're going to step it back into a downward facing dog, taking it at your own pace and getting there in your own way. With our exhale, we'll roll through a plank or a half plank and then find our way down to the mat. Laying on our bellies once more. This time, let's bring our hands down by our hips, just like in that airplane arm movement, but bring the bend into the knees to point the feet towards the ceiling. Now you can take it just like this, or you can contact hands and feet if that's part of your practice. But as we inhale, we lift the forehead, we lift the hands, we lift the knees, coming into a bow pose. If you're capturing hands or feet on ankles, you're reaching there. You can also have that strap around the ankles. Great job. Exhale to release everything down to the mat. Let your hands come under your forehead. Let your hips rock from left to right, massaging out those abdominal muscles. And then in your own time, start to make it up to downward dog. Coming through a plank or a tabletop or any way you want to get there. Great job. Once you arrive in your downward dog, we'll look between our feet. Start to walk our hands back. Great job. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, tall mountain. Reach it up, 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 up. Maybe tiptoes. And then bring it down on your exhale. Great job. Let's go ahead and take it over to our right side bend. Hand on hip, left hip out. Back through center. Take it to the left. Back through center. Twist. Back through center. Twist. Back through center. All right, move to one end of your mat. If you are not there currently, we're gonna bend that left knee as we start to hug it in a little or a lot, lifting the foot off the floor. And then when you're ready, we're gonna step it back into our crescent lunge once more on the other side. Holding in your crescent lunge for just one more breath. Our next exhale allows the hands to come to the hips. Maybe taking the bind, maybe holding your shirt, maybe grabbing opposite elbows, but whatever grip you took last time, make sure to take the funny grip this time and change it up just a little bit. Now either staying here with a straight spine or maybe allowing the knuckles to draw down towards the floor, lifting heart and chin, inviting a little back bend to mess up this beautiful balance. Great job. Inhale to release, crescent lunge. Exhale to release, warrior two. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale, side angle. Now, once again, we're going to take that top arm, we're going to spiral it down towards the ground. Hands frame the front foot on the floor or props as we lift that back heel into our lunge. And then let's find our way to our downward dog. Great job. Look up between the hands and walk your feet towards your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Go ahead and bring your right hand to the center of your space and then bend your right knee as you start to take your left hand out to the side and twist it up. Great job. Exhale to bring it down through center, bending the opposite knee. Inhale, bringing it back up to the other side. Great job. Exhale to release, coming through center. And with our inhale, I want us to take a slow roll, coming all the way up to standing, circling arms up. And then let's bring hands down through a prayer. Alrighty, for this next hip, glute, and thigh burner, we're gonna really turn on some heat. We're gonna probably want a prop. It could be high or low, so it's really up to you. The lower it is, probably the deeper you're gonna feel the burn. So it's really up to you. But we'll come standing by our prop of our choice, whether it's blocks or maybe a piece of furniture nearby or even a wall. And then on your inhale, reach it up, tall mountain. And with our exhale, hinge into your forward fold. Letting your hands come to whatever prop you chose and let your head dangle down towards the floor with a nice bend in your knees. All right, from here, go ahead and walk your feet a little wider than hip distance. The toes can be out or tails in, or the toes can be in line with the feet, whatever feels better for you. But with the next exhale, we're gonna start to bend the knees and drop the hips a little or a lot. If you wanna go all the way down to a deep squat, you're more than welcome to. If you wanna just take it into a shallow squat, you are welcome to do that. And then on our inhale, we're gonna lift those hips, finding that forward fold. Exhale, drop the hips, sink it in. Inhale, lift the hips, drop the head. Find this nice movement between positions, inhaling to lift, exhaling to sink it in. A little bit of maybe light and darkness here in the moment. You're doing great, just a couple more. Again, you control how deep you go. You control how fast you go. You're doing great. Last time. Lifting the hips up high. Walk the feet into their normal mountain position. And then take a slow roll, coming all the way up to standing. Beautiful job. All righty, from here, let's come back down into our tabletop. And then we're gonna sit back just on the heels a little bit as we take it in our palms, pushing the fingertips down towards the mat, and then press through the palms towards the floor, taking a nice stretch through your wrist here. Great job. Feel free to roll that out. Let's come into an easy seated position. And then we'll take our right arm up and overhead and drop it down the spine. You can hold on the hand, you can hold on the wrist, you can even hold on the elbow as you draw the elbow towards the ceiling. And another great option is just to grab the strap in your right hand and then use the left hand to pull the hand towards that lower spine. So finding wherever feels good for you in this moment here. Find your breath in and your breath out. So we take this cow face pose. Great job. Exhale to release. If you took a crisscross applesauce, switch which foot is on top. And then we'll take our cow face on the other side, letting the left hand come down the spine, capturing the left arm with the right hand at some point or the strap. Really keep the spine straight here. Beautiful job. Let's inhale to lift the arms up and overhead, and then we'll exhale to release the hands down by the hips. For our last restorative pose, we're going to take a fish with some blocks, or even your bolster if you'd like a more soft opening here. If you're using a bolster, you're going to lay it long ways along your mat. If you're using blocks for a little bit more like a massage versus that comfortable opening, you're going to put one where the head is going to lay, and then one long ways about mid-back, so the shoulder blades are in the space between where your head would rest and where your shoulders or where mid-back would be at. We'll bring our hips up towards whichever prop we're using, and then as we exhale, begin to roll down onto your prop of choice. Feel free to make adjustments. Again, so if you're using the blocks, you want your shoulder blades to be in between the two props. And just like in bridge, you can go in the short, the medium, or even the high for a slightly deeper back bend. Or you could be using your pillow for a slightly more gentle opening. Now for the legs, you can keep them in a constructive rest. You can send them out long. You could even take a butterfly, any of which would be lovely for you if it feels great. You could also keep your hands on your body. You could rest them on the floor, Or for more of a shoulder opener, maybe bringing it to a W, a cactus, or even a circle overhead. We're going to take some lengthened breaths here, some of those circular breaths, making the inhale and exhale match in length. Finding your inhale as soon as your exhale finishes. And then finding your exhale as soon as your inhale finishes. Hold these poses for just a slightly more extended period of time. The gravity and time allows the muscles to open at their own pace. Allow yourselves to sink in a little bit deeper, a little heavier into your props. And then if you took a butterfly, go ahead and allow your hands to circle down by your legs, inhaling to bring the knees up towards each other. And then we'll find our way off of our prop, rolling maybe to one side or the other, or finding any other way that you can come off of your prop if that feels good. And then rolling back onto your back into a constructive rest, letting the feet come about hip distance apart, and then take a gentle windshield wiper of the knees to reset all that back bending. Beautiful job. All right, inhale to bring one knee and then the other in towards your chest. You can hold them with your hands or maybe wrap your strap around your knees. And then take just a few circles, taking the knees in unison, letting the lower back draw along the floor. And then reverse those circles. Maybe take a couple rocks of the spine left to right, or even length of the spine. And then we'll find our way into a final resting pose. You're always welcome to maybe take a legs up the wall variation, or come into a corpse pose, or constructive rest. You can add blocks or pillows, sweaters or socks, anything that allows you to start to come into this final moment of relaxation on your own terms. Allow your eyelids to grow heavier. Maybe the eyes close, or maybe they simply soften and blur over. Each exhale allows your body to feel a little heavier, pressing into the ground and underneath of you. Each inhale, a sense of rising, of lifting, lightheartedness. You take just a couple more breaths, feeling the heaviness weigh you down on the exhale. And your inhale, a lightness buoyanting up through the body. And your body maybe starts to relax more and more as we start to maybe relax our mind to focus on a guided imagery meditation to follow. We'll begin by imagining that we are outside at dusk. It is a still light out, but the sun has set just below the horizon. It is a pleasant temperature. It's comfortable. And we are in a place that feels safe and peaceful, and where we can watch the stars from. This may be a place that you've been to many times before, or maybe it's only here in your imagination today. Maybe you're far away from the city and town lights. Maybe on a farm or in the mountains. Maybe in a prairie or by the sea. Begin to picture this place in your mind, imagining the details of your surroundings. Are you sitting on a chair or laying on a blanket? Your position allows you to see the vast dome spread above you. Maybe you even notice yourself relaxing, simply enjoying the solitude of this space. The sky is gradually becoming darker. The highest part of the sky is a deep indigo color, becoming darker and darker as the moments pass. The color blends into a lighter shade, almost green at the horizon. And all around the sky is the most interesting shade of pink and orange, mixed with the gray of the fading light. Maybe it feels peaceful watching the sky darken. The air around you is still and calm. Maybe in the distance you can hear crickets or frogs sweetly singing. You notice that the air is starting to slightly be cooler now. Noticing it against your forehead and cheeks. Looking out at the horizon, shapes like trees or buildings are in silhouette. Your eyes slowly adjusting to the decreasing light. As straight up above, the sky grows darker and is nearly black as it fades to a lighter color near the horizon. You see the first star appear. Just one, then another, and another. You see them twinkle, shining like tiny diamonds. And as you look at the darkening sky, you see more and more of those stars. Watching the night begin. The sky is even darker now, and it has become dark black, with only a slight hint of light at the horizon where the sun has just set. The sky is so clear. You see no clouds anywhere to obscure your view of the starry night. More stars have appeared, and the sky looks like it has been sprinkled by a salt shaker full of gleaming crystals. Some stars are bright and luminous. Others are tiny specks that you can barely see. Relaxing back, enjoying this time under the stars, a quiet retreat. Now the sky is pitch black. Out here, away from city lights, the stars are amazingly bright. There are so many stars you would never be able to count, even if you tried. Can you see any familiar constellations formed by the stars above you? Like a connect the dots spread out above you. The starry sky, so huge, so vast. A beautiful glimmering blanket of stars wrapped all around you. You take the biggest breath, the deepest breath of your day so far. Enjoying the beautiful starry night sky. And maybe your body, inside and out, is allowed to feel completely relaxed. Slowly begin to release our visualization, allowing ourselves to come back into the space we're in right now, feeling the ground supporting us. We'll take a deep and long breath, allowing ourselves to feel the breath travel from the nose down the windpipe, through the lungs and back again. We'll begin to wiggle fingers and toes and flutter the eyes open. And then in your own time, in your own way, start to come back up into an upright position, facing me. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you can find some time this week to slow down, maybe watch a sunset as the night or as the day turns into night. Thank you so much.